Anyway, I would like to welcome everyone one more time to MJ Make My Day. You are watching us live over Usapang Kalyenatics, wherein we're like around 30,000 viewers, and also to MJ Make My Day Facebook page. You're actually watching us live, and on YouTube in a short while you're gonna see us live also. Before I continue, I would like to share this wonderful video as we talk about what is the meaning of woman empowerment. Please, I would like to share this to you.
49.6% of the global population is comprised of women. But in 2015, only 24 women worldwide held head of state or head of government positions. Barely 5% of CEOs and 10% of billionaires are women. With such a dramatic minority, we wanted to take a look at some of the world's most influential female figures. So, who are a few of the most powerful women in the world? For the past decade, the most powerful woman in the world has been German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Merkel was Germany's first female head of government and almost single-handedly saved the EU from financial collapse. Currently, she is negotiating Greece's fiscal woes. She is so powerful that in political circles, she is known as the decider and is effectively considered the leader of the entire European Union. In 2012, Forbes ranked her as the second most powerful person in the world. Another extremely powerful woman is philanthropist and businesswoman Melinda Gates. As the co-founder and co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, she has used their $40 billion endowment to focus on global health care and empowering women and girls around the world. In a similar vein, Oprah Winfrey is considered one of the most influential women in America and is the richest African American in the world. On the business side, Indra Nooyi is the CEO of one of the largest food and drink companies, PepsiCo. Since 1994, she has overseen numerous mergers, acquisitions, and a steady increase in her market share and stock price. Under her tenure, there have even been moves to invest in renewable energy and to combat obesity. As the head of the multinational $65 billion a year company, Indra Nooyi is overwhelmingly powerful. Financially, the two people who control the majority of the world's money are both women. Janet Yellen is the first female head of the Federal Reserve in the United States, which has a large hand in determining the country's economic policy. For the rest of the world, including 188 countries, the International Monetary Fund is also headed by a woman, Christine Lagarde. Lagarde has worked to increase the participation of women in the workforce worldwide. No list of powerful women would be complete without the First Lady of the Free World, Michelle Obama. As the wife of U.S. President Barack Obama, Michelle has used her status and influence to address the issues of obesity and inactivity in the United States. She is also one of the leading forces behind the education and financial empowerment of young women. Michelle's impact as the first African-American First Lady cannot be overstated. The world needs more powerful women to continue the trend of empowering and upholding women's rights. Women still make up a small proportion of high-ranking government positions. And if women make up half the population, shouldn't they get equal representation just like everybody else? Another one of the most powerful women in the world is using that power to run for president in 2016. You've probably heard of her. To get a better sense of what Hillary Clinton is about, check out this political profile.
She also played a significant role in the U.S.'s action during the Arab Spring, as well as the killing of Osama bin Laden. However, her biggest challenge was following terror attacks on a U.S. embassy in Benghazi, Libya, that ended with the death of 4 Americans.
Thanks for watching TestTube News. Make sure to like and subscribe for new videos every day.
All right, there you go. You said it. You've said it. So, what is women's empowerment? Empowering girls and women is powerful. Today, we know it is the key to economic growth, political stability, and social transformation. World leaders, experts, and scholars alike are giving their voice to this official endeavor. For example, Barack Obama, our 44th US president, there is no tool for development more effective than the empowerment for women or of women. Kofi Annan, 7th UN Secretary General, empowering women is key to building a future we want. Amartya Sen, Nobel Prize laureate in economics. So then, why isn't this happening on a mass scale? All right, so for tonight, we'll be discussing what is the meaning of women empowerment. I would like you to welcome to our special um, host for tonight. Of course, you're watching The Glass Half Full. This is the season 2 and episode 23 of MJ Make My Day. All right, our first host, she has been a licensed mental health counselor for 15 years and has been in private practice in Staten Island for the past 8 years. She has experience with providing counseling to all ages, and her focus has been on cognitive behavior therapy, mindfulness, and building a resilient life. She has been working in both inpatient and outpatient community settings during her 30-year career, to include being a counselor after 9/11 for the city of New York, and is currently providing counseling during the latest pandemic crisis. Author of your weekly journal of positive wellness and affirmation. Please help me welcome licensed mental health counselor Dr. Lisa Blanchfield.
Hello.
How are you doing today, Dr. Lisa?
Very good, thank you. How's everybody?
Everybody's doing well. Actually, Dr. Lisa is actually in Florida right now.
I escaped for a little bit.
Thank you so much. And we're going to talk more about that later on. Thank you so much, Dr. Lisa. Okay, let me introduce you to our next host. Our next host is actually the author of Make Your Dream Come True and co-author of Overcoming Cultural Bias as a Roadblock to Success, and author of The Next Big Thing, Possibilities for Self-Development and Goal-Setting Strategies for Optimal Success. She is a family nurse practitioner who is board certified by the American Nurse Association and licensed by the state of New York to provide family-centered healthcare to patients of all ages. She is committed to leading the journey to teach the importance of value of a culture-specific approach in caring for individual needs, building communication skills to bridge the gap between individuals, groups, and communities, and supporting the role of the healthcare industry. Please help welcome Dr. Aza Ezzat.
Hello, thanks for having me. Hi.
Hi, Dr. Aza. How are you doing?
Good, good. Hi, how are you?
Very good. Thank you very much again for joining. I know you and Dr. Lisa are always very busy, but you find time to share your knowledge to the viewers of MJ Make My Day, the Glass Half Full.
Thank you for having us. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, we're going to get back to you, Dr. Atsa, in a short while. So the next guest that we'll be introducing to you before we go back to our main host, Dr. Asa and Dr. Lisa, please introduce yourself. It's going to be a surprise for everybody. She's actually a good friend of Dr. Asa.
Yes, a good friend. Dr. Asa always empowers me.
Oh my God.
Yes, yes. My name is Valbona. I am a family nurse practitioner, and I am so excited that Dr. Asa invited me tonight, and I didn't expect we are live. So I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen. Thank you for having me here tonight.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor for us to have you. All right. How do you want us to call you, especially for the viewers? So
if just Val, V-A-L, Val. I am a doctor too, but Val tonight.
Okay. Dr. Val or Val. Okay. Thank you so much. So I would like to give the floor to Dr. Atsa. I'm sorry, Dr. Lisa. Dr. Lisa.
So good evening. I guess tonight we are 3 empowered women. We've come a long way, all 3 of us. So I think we're here just to share some ideas, and hopefully maybe we'll have some interaction and questions. The topic is really important at this time because I think worldwide women are becoming more visible and in some more of our powerful roles, and especially in leadership. And we have in our country a breakthrough that the second most important office in Washington is now going to be held by a female. So we are making progress, and I think for most women it's to try to lift people up. The show is the glass is half full, so that we can always talk about positive affirmations and ways to help each other out. It's been a really tough year for everyone. So we're just here to try to give you ideas and inspiration and have some dialogue about whatever topic it is that, you know, we're interested in talking about. So it's kind of open tonight, I guess, to just share our feelings.
Thank you very much. And also, I would like to add on that the viewers, actually, the viewers of MJ Make My Day, can basically send their questions or any possible topics that we can discuss in the future episodes as well.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lisa. And let me turn you over to Dr. Aza Edzad.
It's a very, very good topic to talk about. And just to add to what Dr. Lisa had mentioned, I believe from what we are seeing and living and experiencing, we are at the dawn of social formation. We're going to see significant change in everything that we ever heard or saw or experienced in our life. And whenever there is a change, there is opportunity. So the opportunity now for the soft, gentle, hard kind of feminine control and justice and equality, and to have different kinds of rules. And it doesn't minimize of the men leadership rules, but feminine, it adds something to the quality of understanding, compassion, nourishing, protective kind of relationship. And that's usually the feminine part. And I can see there is a huge progress we're going to see in the coming years ahead. So it's our opportunity also to be prepared and ready to take advantage of it. So we have to support each other. We have to, like Dr. Lisa said, that we pioneered, we paved some road, we went through something, we overcome some obstacles. So sharing what our experience can add to everybody's journey and can make it easier and more pleasant. So we are looking forward to share what we know and what we've been through, experience.
Thank you very much. So my first question to the three of you, and we're going to start answering that question with Dr. Lisa, and we're going to hear it from Dr. Aza, and of course, to our guest, Dr. Val. My first question is, what, in your own perception, what is the meaning of women's empowerment? We're going to start with you, Dr. Aza, Dr. Lisa.
We have different types of empowerment. So depending on the topic that we wanted to really discuss, we usually focus, we have the social empowerment, which is now through social media, and women are becoming more visible and more apparent, and we have our voice and we can express ourselves through the social aspect. We have educational, which is to become as highly educated as possible. I think us three on tonight are examples of reaching the maximum and the final steps to become a doctor, which is difficult many times from the female perspective. And then we have economic, which is financial, the difference between female and male salaries and positions and the power that you can actually achieve. And of course, political, which is the topic that's most apparent and we hear the most about recently since the presidential election, our first female vice president. So that is empowerment in itself. And then there's psychological empowerment, which is what we work on in theory and therapy and treatment, and trying to work on self-esteem and self-care, because those are the measures that we all need to follow in order to empower ourselves. But the breakdown, there are so many different aspects of empowerment, and it's very difficult. It's a lot of work. And I think that if we could understand how to reach our goals in those different aspects of our world, then it becomes much easier, rather than just to look at empowerment as a whole and not to break it down and say, maybe financially I'm empowered, or maybe in my workplace I'm empowered. And then I might be working on the emotional and psychological part as well.
Thank you very much for that wonderful um, words. Okay, so we're gonna turn you over to Dr. Adsa. Dr. Adsa, what do you think is the meaning of women empowerment?
I think the meaning of woman empowerment is just to shed some light about the importance of women, as you mentioned in your introduction about percentage, we're almost half of the population, and to address and to we cannot just judge women according to who we are or where we are. So there are some women worldwide and even in the United States and anywhere that they are still have old belief that it's hard to break, and they look on the TV, they look on social media, and they are looking at something that it cannot be done. This is something above what they can do, and they don't see it's possible, and they don't understand that there is a process, there is a strategy, there is a way if there is a desire. So that's what I believe that the message should be, that empowerment, that you have the same power like any other woman, and it doesn't matter where you're at and what problem that you encounter in your life. It doesn't matter socioeconomic or any other variable, you still have the ability to get within and discover yourself and find out what would you like to do and make it possible. That's my interpretation to empowerment.
Thank you very much. And let me turn you over to our guest for this evening, Dr. Val. It's your turn, Dr. Val.
Yes, uh, I want to add and I want to focus on our inner empowerment. That
Okay.
besides what you mentioned in the beginning and the two doctors mentioned, the power we get from outside, I want to add our inner selves. Nowadays, we don't need two messages I want to give in a short way, that we don't need others' approval, ladies. We need to approve ourselves for every decision we make, for every position we lead. And also, we should take advantage of the opportunity we have nowadays to connect with each other all over the world. If we don't get support in our local area where we are, we have the whole world in our hands. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have a follow-up question. What empowers you, or what empowers you to be your best self? We're gonna start with Dr. Lisa.
I think we've talked about before the idea of resilience, and I truly believe that we have motivation, self-motivation, self-talk, how we decide, and anything in our life, any obstacle we face. And I think the skill of resilience and being able to survive and being motivated to achieve your goals is probably the root of empowering yourself and empowering others. So that the whole theory of resiliency to me is like survival of the fittest. So we work and we try to learn and we better ourselves and we try to treat others with respect, but we also have to have the core values and morals and ideas of just how to survive. And I think that it's our gift to others that we try. I know in my profession for years, I've just tried to give back and to meet people where they're at and try to assist them, because not everybody has that trait. Not everyone can survive and have the resiliency. So that to me is the most important aspect of the personality and what we need to work on with each other and encourage other women, and especially in our careers. I find it extremely important to support and not to break down the barrier, break it down, but also to support the other person, our colleagues, because when we are in competition and we're jealous of others, it's not going to be successful. It's that we have to work with each other. And I think sometimes the support is very important, and it's not always there. It's not always there in the workplace. It's not always there in our families. It's not always there in our community. So that to me is the most important part. to work on, is to try to strengthen our relationships through empowering each other.
Absolutely, I totally agree. And are there any hindrances or difficulties on of how one can empower themselves or herself, Dr. Aza? What do you think are the difficulties?
Um, I'm going to what Valbona had mentioned, which is the inner work that you have to do. So during that time of the pandemic, there was plenty of time for everybody to discover themselves, learning how to live with themselves, to hear themselves, to feel themselves, away from the noise of the outside kind of interruption. Um, we have inner strengths, and we must have a dream and goal. And the goal is the fuel that keep you going when the the life is tough and the opportunities hard, because it keep you focused. So as long as you have a goal and you have a dream, you will always be able to be pushed out of the circumstances. It's not like if, because it's when, because we all go through hard times, we all go through struggle, difficulties. If you have a goal and you have decided that this is your focus, that's what your purpose in life, that's what will keep you waking up in the morning with a purpose. You have a reason to live, you have a reason to overcome. Anything will become pity, is not that big deal, because you do have a bigger vision. And I'm talking about maybe our culture. We did not learn to dream big. We always learn, just do your best and that's good enough. So what I learned here, coming to the United States of America, that sky is your limit. Like you finish your doctor and you said, what's next? It's not like you finish, you approach your goal and you're settled and happy and content. You are content, but just as a destination, not as a final place. So that's the energy that keep you going and allow you to always overcome any small obstacle that you encounter during your day or during your time. So having the inner depth of what you want, and you will wake up with that power and fuel that will push you through obstacles. So that's, to me, that's what empowering me to overcome any obstacle, is always to have a dream and always to imagine what I want to do, what I want to be, better me in the future, 5 years, 10 years, bigger goal, smaller steps to reach it. And it's very helpful.
Dr. Val, thank you so much, Dr. Atza. Do you believe that the measurement of becoming an empowered woman can be measured to the success, or what are the little things that you can do that help empower yourself?
First, I want to explain why we women feel we need empowerment. Does that mean we don't have power? I think the society is not evolved enough to understand the power we have. So I need you ladies to understand, all of us, something I understood now in my life, that we all have power, but we need one more ingredient. We have to have it all together. So before I see two ladies, now is a third, and in the future should be more. And whenever you are, you ladies, wherever you are, you create your own community, your own club, and that's where you become more powerful together. Thank you.
Absolutely. So when you were younger, Dr. Val, do you actually realize that you're going to be a doctor and as powerful as the present right now?
No, I didn't, but I got lucky literally meeting Dr. Aza and others that we give energy to each other. So when somebody's fly, they take you up flying with that. It's very important who you surround yourself with. So I was lucky to be surrounded with very strong and powerful women.
All right. Do you agree with Dr. Val, Dr. Lisa?
Of course, that probably is the only way, besides our inner strength and our inner self-motivation, is to work with others and then mentor and try to educate. I was a professor for 20 years, just trying to take information and disseminate it and teach. And I was open, of course, in the learning process with all students, but I also always emphasized to the females that you can be anything you want to be. And education to me is the key, because it doesn't matter what gender you are. When you have a degree, you have the power. So education, experience, your career, there are many ways to break that glass ceiling. They're saying now there's glass all over because the ceiling got broken. But for me, I feel like it was, there were many opportunities I had. I didn't have obstacles because I fought back and I was motivated and I studied, and I've spent my whole life as a student. And I think to explain that this is your chance, this is your opportunity. I'm a believer in education. A lot of people say, well, you have no common sense. Well, okay, I know I have no common sense, but at the end of the day, I have 12 letters after my name. So I earned it. I worked really hard and I got to where I am, and no one can ever take that away from you. Anything that happens in your life, you get knocked down and you have struggles, but that's something that no one can ever say it's not there anymore. It's just something you've earned, and that's the power I have. I always feel like I really reached all the goals that I set out to reach, and that's the encouragement that you have to give to others, because I'm sure people don't have the courage and the strength sometimes to accomplish their goals.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. So now that we're talking about empowering ourselves, yeah, I believe so that women nowadays compared to how they were before. One example of that is now you were able to express yourself by casting your vote. There were times that women are not really allowed to participate on that type of activities, especially empowering the nation as well in choosing what do you like and who should be the leader. So what do you think are the reason why people are holding back in becoming or getting what they want, to empowering themselves? Anybody can answer that question.
Actually, I agree with Valbona. I don't see the reason for like fight or who is doing what, because gender creation is one of the law of existing in life, that you have to have both. You have to have the balance. So it's not like we're gonna exceed empowerment for women and then we're gonna lack the men, because what I also sure that within every woman lies all the latent quality of the man, and the vice versa. Within every man lies the latent quality of woman. So it's a matter of balance. Like, we as a woman, we can try to focus on empowering our muscular kind of energy, and we can put ourselves during the day as a charged, responsible kind of man, and I mean in person, and we can come home and we have the opposite energy. So it's your ability to balance. That's what makes you successful in life, and that's what gives life balance as well. So it's not like you have to be a man, you have to be a woman. We have to balance the 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 balance of the creation of life, which is one of the existing law of the gender law. There is no man without woman, and it's a must for creation of and continuation of life. So it's not a competition. It just, I think it's just a kind of, again, balance. So maybe in the past, and that's why I said we're in the dawn of new social formation, it was dominant, the man, muscular, controlling, assertive energy that was dominant. And now we are moving to a feminine, calm, nourishing, compassion kind of energy. It's all about energy, whether it's man or woman. And it's the ability to adjust yourself as a human being to be successful in creating that balance within yourself, community, family, and relationship.
Dr. Val? I'm sorry, there's no audio.
Sorry.
Okay.
One of the reasons I think that we don't mention it much, not here in this forum, but I'm saying everywhere, is that it's a lot of, we need a lot of energy, a lot of effort and sacrifices to improve and to empower ourselves. I think we should as well, we need support from others, but we need to really do that move that for us to go forward, to put a lot of energy, a lot of effort, and a lot of sacrifices. And of course, I agree with Dr. Lisa and Dr. Asa that we do it all together, us and men as well. That's all I can
Thank
say.
you. In the beginning of the conversation, Dr. Asa, you talk about the 5 types of female empowerment. Can you please elaborate on those? You spoke about social, education, economic, political, gender, and the psychological, intrinsic, or the task motivation and self-control. Can you please focus more on those 5 types of female empowerment for the sake of our audience?
Yeah,
Do
okay.
you want me to answer that or you want it as?
Dr.
Lisa, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. So one of the things with the psychological empowerment is to look at intrinsic motivation and also our self-control and how we can actually become really task motivated. And I think that with our how we think and how we believe and how we see ourselves is then how we portray ourselves. So one of the things that's important is self-image, and to kind of work on our idea of who we are as ourselves first, and then how we portray ourselves to the public. And social media is now really helpful because we can be anybody we want to be, right? They call it the fake book because people show and we have images of who we are, but it's also empowering us and giving us the strength to say, you know what, this is who I am. And it kind of builds up our character. So in many ways, I think one of the types of female empowerment that's really important is the media. And now we have all these different avenues to kind of express ourselves and to interact with others and communicate our messages that we want to get out there, our thoughts and our feelings. And so we put it out there for everyone to we expose it, but then we can also have a dialogue and communication about it. And that's something that's so innovative that we haven't had in many other lifetimes. So currently, I think that's really helpful. And then with the educational, we talked about the political, as we know, is representation, because our voice is going to be heard if we are represented in the government. And then the economic part of it is that women are now in many households, single family, single female households that have financial power and financial control. And that gives us a lot of strength because we're not dependent. We're very independent, many women. So I think that's another aspect that really contributes to how we feel about ourselves.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lisa. I remember a while ago that Dr. Asa actually did mention about the gender equality, being balanced between probably a male and a female. So what are the qualities of an empowered woman that you think can make her empowered while maintaining their femininity?
That's a very good question. In all life, we always develop new skills and new tools as we grow and evolve. Like I didn't have what I have now 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. So you see where you're at now. So now I'm in a position of teaching client, dealing with individual that seeking medical, physical, emotional help. So you start improving your language skills, improving your communication skills, improving your compassion skills. So that's what I mean about trying to see what you need for your work, and you try to balance your work with your work different from family and personal, from self-improvement. So being able to lead self-leadership also it's a big component of successful women. So you have also to continuously improve yourself, your ability to balance in order to fulfill your life and not to miss and something to like push something else. So you need also to live your life, to continue improving yourself, and to have a balanced life relationship, which is should be everything geared to your relationship, because at the end we want to be happy and we want to have a nice family relationship. So we are not changing our core value, and that core value, it's individualized. It's everybody set their own core values and how they like to make priority what's more important in their life. And we have parameter to make us know if we are on the right track of not or not, which is the joy and happiness. So if you feel like peace, happy, and you are fulfilled, that's a sign that you are aligned yourself with your purpose at work, family, and your personal growth. So that will be your parameter to know where you are at, how happy you are with your family, your relationship with work and colleague, and to try to avoid the toxic relation that will take your energy away.
Thank you very much. And this question is for Dr. Bar. Are there any specific exercises or practices that do you think women can do to make them become more empowered?
It's my turn.
Yes.
I am so happy to share with the audience one thing that Dr. Asa mentioned, communication skills. I took public speaking classes to learn to speak about me. All the degrees I hang on the wall, I hang them last night. I never appreciated myself. I didn't know the value of myself. These were under the bed, getting dust. So I took these public speaking classes. I learned communication skills, and I wrote an article for this public speaking school that I said after 1 year of training, I learned my weakness was I did not know my strength. So ladies, I strongly believe we should learn how to speak and how to express ourselves, because other people can listen to us better, can listen to our message better. Thank you.
So it's continuous improvement. It's not like you finish your degree, I am done. You're always trying to improve yourself and brush up on the skills that you feel like you needed.
I believe I should have learned this 20 years ago, not now, but better later.
Never too late.
All right. Would you like to add on that, Dr. Lisa? Anything that you think can be, I don't want to say it's exercises, but some practices that you think a woman can do to make them become more empowered?
I just know I'm about to retire. So girls, I must be a lot older than you, because now I'm doing cooking and baking as my and crocheting as my hobbies. I think if we find whatever makes us happy and whatever relaxes us and whatever is joyful, and a career and work, and that may not be where your power is. It's wherever we find relaxation. So the skills that relax us, that's the message I would give to anyone. It's just not always about that stressful rat race that we get into. And I've been able, thank God, to have some time now that I don't work 12-hour days, and I can actually figure out what I can do that gives me peace and gives me moments of enjoyment. And I think the skills that we develop in life, hobbies and family and interacting with others. I mean, just this project alone has given me a lot of, I would say, fulfillment. And there's things we can find that are new. Always take advantage. I always go for whatever comes to me, and I never refuse, because I always hope that it's going to be an empowering experience. So I think keeping your mind open and being flexible to learning new things and trying new things, and that in itself will help you to see that there's so many other things we can do in this world to relax ourselves. And the skills are hard to develop if you don't know how to do it. And I still work with many people to try to encourage them how to do that. But we don't all have that opportunity, and we don't always have the skill because we haven't really manifested it or worked on it. It's just not part of our everyday routine. How am I going to relax today? How am I going to find some peace today? It's just not something that we're driven to do. But I think that that's really where we become creative, and we can start to have skills that we haven't really honed before.
Thank you very much. All right, this question is for everybody. So can you share your personal icons of empowered women and what sets them apart? You want to start, Dr. Atza?
But actually, I just want to add something about what Dr. Lisa just said now. I'm
sure.
trying to encourage every single person, including myself now, not to wait to retirement to start find me time and happiness, because I agree with Dr. Lisa. We were taking life so serious, and I'm talking now for myself, that I was always try to validate myself by improving myself. It wasn't enough that I had BSN. It wasn't enough to get master. I want to have doctor. So I stopped and I said, what am I doing now? What I'm trying to prove? Like, it's like constant trying to identify and validate yourself. Where was the time that you just need to relax and while I was doing that, I was working two, three jobs. And when I cut all this down and I start to say, you know what, let me try to see how I can make time for myself, I found like once I put my mind, everything start to change. I start to feel more happy and very picky with what I work, and stuff that I was fighting to do, I wouldn't do now. So part of loving ourselves and caring for ourselves, not just to look good, but to not to put ourselves in a situation that we are not comfortable or happy. And learning to say what you want and to stick to what you want, and no matter what happened, the consequence. And I'm sure Valbona went through something similar. And that's the communication. Communication, not just talking. Communication is being able to say what you want to say after you studied and decided all the consequences, what's going to happen, and put yourself first.
Can you consider
That's what I believe is what every single person have to start to do at young age. And I have a faith that the new generation, not that they are more selfish, but it's in a positive way. We were too much given, I would say, but the new generation now, they value themselves, they make time for themselves. And I would also add meditation. It's so powerful because now there is a huge understanding of the power of the brain and the mind. And the mind is like any other organ, need to relax and to rejuvenate and to be planted with so many new seeds and new ideas. So in order for empowerment, you find out what you need, and you just have to meditate, and you have to make it your rules and your part of your routine to take care of your mind as well.
Absolutely. How often do you meditate, Dr. Val?
I have decided only lately to really understand what is meditation. I took classes for hypnosis, neuro-linguistic programming, life coach, and all these have in common that we must focus on one thing. We should find one priority. It can be to improve yourself, or it can be like Dr. Lisa, Dr. Asa said, to relax. But we pick one thing, and we prioritize, we focus, and we make a plan how we deliver this relaxation, what we do. And then we come out of it, we ignore unimportant things. So we focus on one important thing. And I have done it lately more often. Again, focus in one thing and deliver that thing, one thing at a time.
One thing at a time. Okay. I think our viewers will definitely going to follow that advice. And that is basically what the purpose of the Glass Half Full is, to be able to encourage and share knowledge to our viewers in such a way that, especially with our busy schedule, and sometimes people doesn't have the means and resources to go to an authority or a professional to have this advice. But just by watching the Glass Half Full with Dr. Lisa and Dr. Asa, and now you, Dr. Val, as one of our guests for this evening, is basically very important to each one of them that are actually watching us right now. All right, so I'm going back to my question. Do you have any personal icons that you think are very empowered, and why do you think they are different from one another, or for other people? We'll start with Dr. Lisa.
So there are so many that have inspired me. I think in graduate school, all the female doctors that I studied under, I think they were the ones that really gave me strength and encouragement. And if you see a person that's able to do research and to disseminate knowledge and work with you and support you, they were always my greatest icons to get me through the programs that I was in, from undergraduate to graduate on. And I think politically, I'm absolutely thrilled that we're going to have a female vice president. So my newest icon is probably Kamala Harris, and we'll see how she does. But it's the first time in my life that I'm having a female to look up to in leadership politically in our country. So I think she's my newest icon.
Thank you very much for sharing. At least I would like to add also that for Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, she's the first woman vice president, first Asian American, and also first Black American also to be in that position. But as going back to what you said during the victory speech, she's not the first, and she's not going to be the only one. So good luck to everybody. All right, thank you so much, Dr. Asa. Do you have any icon or idol that actually inspires you?
Yeah, actually, the icon that I have that inspired me is Cleopatra and Nefertiti, which were ruining Egypt, which is the beginning of civilization 7,500 years ago. So I am very optimistic, and I don't believe in any less than a man in any way or shape. And I believe it's sometimes you can give in indirect way. We influence, like there is something like called unconditional love, which is you give without showing that you're the one who is giving. And I believe that's what women are really always radiating, helping, empowering. It's not just the sun that gives us the light, sometimes the unseen that can give you more radiant and more power than you can ever imagine. And we are all creator, and we are all here for a reason, and we all have so much power, and we need to understand it. And reading about all the ancient history, which has have more time now to read, not because I have to study and test it. So I'm amazed about what women's done in all history, whether from beginning of civilization or here during America, during also like so many stages of the changes that happened and took place. And I have them signed everywhere, from Rose Parker to so many legends that women, and we are not acknowledge them, but they are existing, and they are shining, and they are influencing the world in a positive way.
Thank you very much, of course. Dr. Val?
This time I'm not gonna pick somebody else who is icon to empower me. I want all the ladies and gentlemen that are following us to focus on themselves, on the power that we are born with. Because I emphasize this because I come from a culture, I'm from Albania, that I had always to have permission, I needed validation, I needed everything to be validated by other people. So now in the 5th decade of my life, I'm focusing on me. I want to discover me. What's the power God gave me? What is inside me? So I want all of you to go to dig on the powers that we are born with. Have we used them or not? Thank you.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of definition when it comes to empowering yourself and empowering others also. It really depends on what you believe in and how you apply that to yourself. I do believe in that also. But I think what important is the first step of empowering ourselves, and I hope you will agree with me also, is that to take that first step and be courageous to get out of your comfort zone and try something. And if you're able not to do that yet, but if you're able to help yourself and do something to make yourself much better than who you were before, that is also empowering ourselves and empowering one another. Thank you. All right. So what is the best advice that you can give to our audience at the moment on how they can empower themselves and to be the best, best to give the best that they can offer, not just to themselves, but also to other people? Would you like to start, Dr. Lisa?
I think just to reiterate that if we work on ourselves and we focus, as the other doctors have said, on who we are, and we work with ourselves first, we give ourselves the strength we need, and then we can always help others when we're healthy and we're balanced and we're feeling positive. It's really hard to help and to support another person when you haven't actually worked on yourself first. So I think that's the key. And if you do need assistance, and people do, not everyone can be powerful and not everyone has the self-esteem and not everyone can really hone the skills that you need. I think there are many resources out there. I've worked my whole life trying to give people encouragement and to try to give them some of my power and some of my help. And I think if we help each other, when people are in need, they reach out and they say, this is what I need. This is the encouragement that I'm looking for. If we're able to do that, then we're a better person because we've helped someone else. And I don't think it's all about us. I try not to, focus. I try my entire career, I've tried to think about, the people that are either marginalized or people that need assistance or people that are not like me, that don't have the power I have, right? So I'm always about that, to try to offer all of our skills to anyone that's in need. And we talk about this in every show, that please contact me in particular. I'm on Facebook. I have a lot more time for if people want to reach out and have conversations. And I think that's what this forum is for, that we can interact with others. And I hope people are listening, and I hope that they're benefiting from what we talk about, and then reach out to us. I don't know if we have any questions tonight, but if we can have an interactive forum and have people come forward and actually let us know, where they're at, I'm sure we could help them.
Definitely. Thank you very much. And probably on the next episode of the Glass Safu, we're going to have another forum, just like what we did 3 weeks ago. And if you remember that, Dr. Asa and Dr. Lisa, that was when we spoke about the effect of the coming election to our mental health. And, it's a different ball game now. So, but anyway, I do believe that our audience will have a lot of questions. But just like what Dr. Lisa said, please feel free to reach out to her on her Facebook page also. And Dr. Lisa, and I think Dr. Lisa has her own Facebook page,
Yes.
Lisa's World, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
I have 3 of them, so you can find me. If you're looking for me, you can definitely find me.
See, they're very big also in social media. Okay. All right. So, Dr. Atsa, any advice that you can give to our viewers on how they can make the best of themselves, and by encouraging other people also to be empowered as well?
Okay, my advice that I will give it as if I'm writing for myself, don't ever compare yourself to anybody. You are strong, you are powerful, you have something that nobody else have, and you just need to find it, and anything else you can acquire and you can build. But don't ever compare yourself with anybody else. You are created for a reason, and and you equipped for that task, and you are not least important than anybody else. Just find out that thing that inside you that make you happy, and find out what you need to do, and whatever your mind can conceive, it can achieve. So don't ever compare yourself, because looking at the social media, you find so many experts, so many. I'm looking at everybody's an expert now, Lisa, and everybody's coaching now, and everybody's giving advice, and everybody, it's like overwhelming. And somebody may feel like frustrated or not as skillful or can put you down. Don't compare yourself. I'm not sure how true that people are or what their skills, but definitely we all have strengths and skills and complement each other. So my advice is to empower yourself, know where you're at, and build on it.
Thank you so much. I'm not trying to stay away from the topic tonight, and we have like few more minutes, but I would like to ask you this question, especially now that you did mention not to compare ourselves to other people. Is there any disadvantages or danger when someone is trying to compare or at least compete to another individual, Dr. Atsa?
I think Dr. Lisa can answer that more specifically, but some people can get depressed and some people can get into kind of I'm not good enough and despair. And there was some statistic, but I cannot really 100% say it, that some people get depressed when they go on social media because they are comparing themselves with who has what and the expertise that's presented and the fancy. Somebody will open the key to a car or to airplane, private jet, and said, I created this in 1 month or 1 year. And I'm not sure how true that is. Some people can get frustrated, helplessness, and if somebody cannot eat and they see that, they feel that they are out of sync and they misfit and they can have some psychological mental issues. What do you think, Lisa? Can it have
Are you
effect?
specific? I'm not sure what you're specifically referring to. Are you talking about like profiles that people see in social media? Like they see a profile and then they
Not
get
just a
depressed?
profile, like a show or somebody presenting themselves that they are
Yeah.
comfortable during this dilemma and the
Mhm.
pandemic, and that life is wonderful and great. And what will be somebody in a despair compare themselves? How would they feel?
I'm not that familiar with people being in that role in social media. I mean, I find everything that I listen to be positive and encouraging. So unless that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I think when people compare themselves materialistically to another person or physicality, or I'm not as pretty as that person, or you know, fashion, design, makeup, whatever they're looking at. But I find all the spiritualists and people that are offering, I mean, you can browse through and Google people and learn from them. But I think overall, any information that you can gain that's actually going to help. But it's how you look at it. You might look at
So
something and say,
how can you like what do you think the increase of mental health and suicide and all that came from? Just from the pandemic or from exposure to unrealistic kind of, there are so many facets, I think, to the issue of increase of mental illness and mental health, because when you don't have stability and equality and people at the same sink, that creates some kind of mental illness, don't you think?
I think teenagers are more affected. The higher suicide rate is usually in the teenage years because their self-esteem isn't established and they compare themselves and they get bullied in social media. So the suicidal ideation is more with the younger kids, I would say, the teenagers.
How about the self-medication? I just had quite a few of my clients that passed away, you know, and 41 and
Mhm.
42. So it's not just teenager. It's a very stressful time, and maybe 15 years from now, this is gonna come as an issue. The social media had like same thing was like the telephone and all this kind of technology. It's going to come later on that it had negative effect on whether physical or mental health. But I see it definitely for somebody who is not mature enough to understand, it
Mhm.
can affect definitely their mental health and mental
Well, it would depend what
psychosocial
they're
health.
what they're searching and what they're finding and what they're exposed to. But I think the pandemic, we know the statistics. The pandemic is definitely what has caused the isolation and the quarantine and the death is really what's caused the increased suicide
Right,
rate.
because that geared
Yeah.
us to go to the social media and television, spend more time on all that stuff.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
Well,
again,
addiction
people
is
have
on
to
the rise
take care
too.
of themselves. That's my,
Yeah.
I don't know what we were trying to say, but generally, I think we have to focus on what we need even to watch on the TV.
Right. Well, we all need self-restraint that you're supposed to turn off the TV and social media when it becomes too much. That's an important message.
And that is also empowering yourself. I don't need to watch that. It's not good for me.
Right.
I don't
Right.
need to listen to this person. So that is also one way that you can empower yourself. The right to choose, the right people to listen to, the right stuff to listen to, or it could be the right book also. I think that
And
is
also it's an opportunity to add more positive stuff. Like that's why we have to come as a group, as a community, and to counteract the negativity and the despair and the helplessness, and to try to give hope, support, and some kind of positive community per se,
absolutely
or influence some influential team
okay.
leaders.
All right, so we have only had like 5 more minutes to go. Thank you very much, Dr.
Wow, can't believe
Lisa and
it.
Dr. Asa. I cannot believe it. That's why I think a lot of people are suggesting that we should add more minutes to our show. Let me turn you over to Dr. Val, and I would like to give her a piece on an advice also to our viewers on how they can actually empower themselves and they can empower other people too. Dr. Val.
Thank you. I want our audience tonight to focus on the resources we have where we live. There is a book, Alchemist, from Paulo Coelho.
That's
With
one of the, yeah,
sentences.
you should read that.
Yes, it was about a boy that found a map searching for a treasure. He went all over the world. He found the treasure behind his house. And that happened to me. What I found in America for 27 years, some people found it in Albania. They did not need to cross the ocean. So watch what resources you have available where you are. Then you wonder, like the two doctors mentioned, to compare yourself with others if they have something better. Maybe you do have something better and you don't know it. Thank you.
Absolutely. I would like to piggyback on that, Dr. Val, because actually The Alchemist is one of my favorite books also. There's a saying there that the universe conspires with you. And that's what I actually believe in.
I believe it 100%.
Thank you, Dr. Asa.
We have time to give you a case. Do you have time or we don't have time?
Yeah, we can.
Recently in National Geographic, I'll send you the article. It talks about a patient with Parkinson's, severe symptoms. He had a medication and he healed. Then after the experiment, they told him, you never had the medication, you had the placebo.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I wrote to the magazine, like what happened when the patient found out he never got medication, but he healed. I did not get the answer, but this experiment exists. It's called Unlocking the Power of Your Mind.
Power of the mind, yeah, I know. Yeah, I truly believe in that. Thank you very much for sharing. Oh my gosh, this is basically a wonderful conversation. I hope to, that you can also join us in the future episode. And of course, our main host, Dr. Lisa and Dr. Atsa, I would like to tell our viewers that they will actually be having an Alzheimer group support on November 24. That would be at 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. presented by Oakland Rehabilitation Center. And this is going to be the first leg of the many tours that we're doing. That is basically the plan for the Atsa Lisa tandem of the Glass Half Full to be able to visit different facilities and visit organization and bring their knowledge to the community. All right, Dr. Asa and Dr. Lisa. All right, any parting words real quick because we only have like 3 more minutes. We'll start with you, Dr. Val, as I go on to our main host. Dr. Val, thank you very much again. Any parting words?
Just believe in yourself. Start early, not late, not very late like me. Please believe in yourself. Start from there.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Val. And Dr. Atsa?
Try to be happy and center your life around your happiness, and everything will be beautiful.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And Dr. Lisa?
Oh, of course, I agree with both of them. This is way past my bedtime, so my brain is starting to shut down. But I wish everyone some peace and happiness and relaxation in this very, very stressful time. And I'm glad that we're able to offer our expertise and information and support. And thank you to MJ as well for providing the forum for us to be able to discuss the topics.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lisa Blanchfield and Dr. Azesat and Dr. Val. Thank you so much. One way that you can empower yourself, as we all know, the numbers is getting higher now. So one way to empower yourself is to wear the mask and also to keep washing your hands for 20 seconds at least. And now you are actually empowered. All right, on behalf of MJ Make My Day, and of course, Usapang Kalye, and Rainbow 107.1 FM and 1120 Consola with my baby Yum Yum. Once again, my name is MJ, and you're watching MJ Make My Day, the Glass Half Full. Thank you very much, everyone, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you. Thank you.